Right, I'm very honoured to be joined by Robbie Lyle. I just wanted to talk to you about where Arsenal are in the season so far, because I think you're approaching one of the biggest games in Mick Arteta's time at Arsenal, in my genuine opinion.
A bit dramatic, isn't it?
No, I think it's one of the biggest, because look, the Man City games last season, we talked about them last season, of course, and obviously the FA Cup final during COVID. But in reality, this is an opportunity to lay a marker where I think you failed in the FA Cup against Liverpool a little bit. I thought you were a little bit soft. This is a huge game.
I wouldn't say soft, man. You go that soft. We peppered them with shots.
Yeah.
And we should have won the game. And if our finishing would have been better, we would have won the game. But at the end of the day, it's about putting the ball in the back of the net. We didn't do that, and they deserve to win the game. But I think this is a huge game. If we win the game, I feel that we're right back in the title race.
Yeah.
We would, we pull them back to be within 2 points. If we lose the game, they're 8 points clear of us.
Yeah.
And then I start to look at it and say it's more of a top four battle, even at this early stage, than a title race. And the reason why I say that is not if there was only one, if you're only battling one team, but the fact that, you've got City coming on the wings as they always do at this time of year, and you still got, you still also got to factor in your Tottenhams and Villa and teams in and around it as well. So this is a massive game for Arsenal. We're at home.
Yeah.
And, I've seen a lot of people almost like they're writing us off for this game. And I'm a bit surprised by that because, that was the FA Cup, but this is the Premier League. We've only lost one game at home. We've won our last two. Our last game at the Emirates, we scored 5. I know Palace, I know Liverpool. But we beat Liverpool at home last season. We drew with Liverpool at Anfield as well. We didn't lose at Anfield.
Course,
you know what I mean? So, we beat Man City at home. You know what I mean? So I'm confident that I'm confident we can get a result.
The reason I said soft, I wasn't trying to wind you up. Soft in the sense that in the final 20 minutes, the way you folded a little bit. I think you were frustrated with how Liverpool defended. I think you defended quite well. I think you got frustrated, and I think a bit like the Man City game last season when obviously Ake scored and you lost 1-0. That's the only comment I'd sort of take from it, is that in a big game against Liverpool in the FA Cup, it was a huge opportunity for Arteta to win the FA Cup again. The only trophy he's won. It was just, I just think, has he learned from last season? It's
a difficult. When you draw, Liverpool and City, back-to-back years. It's not a great chance to progress in it. It's a 50-50, and as I said, if we'd have taken our chances in the game, it might have been different. And I remember I was at the game and I was thinking, whoever scores first once we got into the second half and we started to get about halfway through it, I'm saying to myself, whoever scores first is going to win this game. Yeah. And they did. They were more clinical than us. So, and they're on fire at the moment. Yeah. We saw what they've done to Chelsea the other night, absolutely ripped them apart. They're on fire. But, we're not Chelsea. We're a much better team than Chelsea. Yeah. We've got, a little bit of our mojo back after the, a really poor Christmas. We went away to Forest. That's a place where we've had a poor record. We lost there last year. Yeah. The previous 2 visits there were defeats as well. And I was a bit disappointed in the goal we conceded near the end because it's a very comfortable 2-0 up till then.
You're all over them.
Yeah, so I think, yes, with the whole Jurgen Klopp thing and he's leaving and all that, and I get it why there's all the hype around Liverpool and how they're playing. And remember, they've only lost one game this season, but I think this is going to be a very tough game for Liverpool. And I think, I think we could pull it off.
Yeah, 100%.
I really do.
Yeah. You talked about Jurgen Klopp. Do you think Jurgen Klopp leaving and weakening Liverpool long-term potentially, does that open an opportunity for Arteta, who's obviously, he's established at Arsenal as a young crop of players that are all, I think, you've got Saliba and Gabriel and all these players that they're world-class, in my opinion. They're bordering world-class young talents. Does that open the door for Arsenal?
100%.
You think?
Yeah. Right, I was saying last year, I said we need Pep and Klopp to leave, right, to give Arteta a chance. You know what I mean? Because, listen, Klopp's a giant, isn't he?
Huge.
Pep's a giant. These guys are not... When you think about those two managers, you don't just think manager, you think they're the club. They're huge. They're like integral. And I think Klopp going, we were doing like a debate on it at AFTV earlier with some Liverpool fans, and I was saying to them, I was going, when the new guy comes in, whoever it be Xavi Alonso, whoever he is, no matter how good he is, he's still going to have to follow on from Klopp that, you don't realise how big that guy is. We saw the same thing when Wenger left. We saw the same thing, even though Wenger overstayed his time in reality.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to fill those boots. We brought in a top-class manager in Unai Emery. He couldn't.
He struggled, yeah.
We've seen with, Fergie when he left, Very, very big boots to fill. So for us, I think it's a bonus.
It is a bonus.
That Klopp is leaving. You know what I mean?
Of course it is.
100%. If I was Mikel Arteta, I'd be looking at it and say, boy, that helps my opportunity for next year.
1,000,000%.
With him gone, So...
talk about the Forest game very quickly. There's a couple of things I noticed. Emil Smith-Rowe came in for Kai Havertz. I think Kai Havertz, I don't know your direct opinion about Kai Havertz. For me, it's been a really poor signing in terms of what he's done to your side and slowed you down a little bit, in my opinion, for the money you spent as well. Emil Smith-Rowe, a player that was so loyal to Arteta in the first year, so strong. He's such a good player. He's probably the best player for Arteta in his first season, right?
Yeah.
He's obviously had an injury, so that's not his fault. What's Emil Smith-Rowe, his future at Arsenal in the next couple of years for you?
I think Emil Smith-Rowe has, between now and the end of the season, it's huge for Emil Smith-Rowe. It's my personal opinion, just going off of what I always see in football, in that I feel that if he doesn't fire between now and the end of the season, I think they'll cash in on him.
Do you think, yeah?
Yeah, I do. And it's really harsh because it's not, like you said, it's not his fault.
Shame, he's such a good player, isn't he?
Such a good player. I was saying to somebody the other day, I was going, what you see Cole Palmer doing at the moment at Chelsea was what Smith-Rowe was doing in that season when him and Saka was emerging. He was doing the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But injuries have just blighted his career. Now, if he can get back to that form, or even half of that form between now and the end of the season, I think if he doesn't, especially as we're looking at financial fair play and all stuff like that, and Villa have been out there trying to buy him for 35 million, and
Fulham
other teams.
Well. Yeah.
Right, I think Arsenal might look at it and say, we'll take the 40 million and just go, and it's a ruthless world.
Pure profit.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, and it's pure profit. So I think that this is a really important time in his career. I'm hoping that he's fully fit. He looked all right the other night. He played for his first game back. He looked lively. But he's going to have to score goals. He's going to have to really play a big part, because I think it's not fair, but it's probably last chance saloon for him with his Arsenal career. And
football's a cold world, and it's a
cold
sport, man.
Absolutely cold, because the guy's just been injured and he's been chomping at the bit to play for Arsenal, and he's Arsenal through and through as well.
Of course he is.
But yeah, it's ruthless.
It's a killer sport, man. One other observation: Saka scored a great little goal on his right foot, which is very, very rare. Do you know what I mean? What's your observation of Saka this season? Is the criticism about Saka, is it unfair? Or is it fair because we rate him so high? Is actually fair criticism?
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle. Like, to me, I think it's a bit unfair because he's still been producing good numbers, right? He's still, even you watch Saka in a game and he'll not be having his greatest of game, but you walk away from the game and people say, "Oh, Saka weren't all that good today."
Yeah. And
then someone say, "Yeah, but he had an assist for the goal."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't realise that. You know what I mean? So he's always got that output there.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously he's not been as good as he was last season, right? I think he's had to find a new way of playing. He's getting doubled. Even the other night against Forest, they were tripling up on him.
Yeah.
So it's tougher for him, and sometimes it's then he has to then try and create something to give the flowers to another player.
Yeah.
Because he's the player that's getting double teamed. But I've still been very happy with him. He's still been consistent, but obviously it's not been as great a season as it was last season for him.
Is it an energy thing? He plays so many games.
I don't think so. I think it's just been a thing that, I feel that teams know he's such a threat that they've sort of,
just banked him out.
Yeah, they double team him up, and he's now having to learn that, I have to find, other ways to step it up, and which he is doing. He's still scoring goals. He's still having assists. I think the whole team has not been as good as last season.
That's the issue, isn't it?
We've not been as dynamic. We've not been as quick as we were last season. We control games. There's lots of possession, but it's a bit too slow at times.
Is that Kai Havertz's fault?
I don't think so. I think it's too simplistic. I actually think it's the tactic of the team that Arteta's gone for this more sort of controlled style, because even Havertz, I don't think, at first sort of 4 or 5 games, I was like, what does he bring to the team? Right? But then after that, he started playing well. He scored goals.
Brentford
He's contributed things. You know what I mean? I think the problem with Kai Havertz is he costs so much money. And when you cost £65 million, you're looking for a player that's going to, every time he comes on the pitch, is an absolute game changer. And he's not that guy. To me, he's a guy that, like, he can play in multiple positions. He's a very good player, and he's not been poor for Arsenal. But that price tag of 65 million, you think if we paid 35 million for him, I don't think nobody would be complaining at all about his performances. But when you pay that amount of money, you want a game-changing player. But when you compare him to a lot of other signings, right? You know, I think he's done. If I was looking the other day, even at the signings at your club, City, if you compare him to Cunha, he's done a lot better than him, hasn't he?
Cunha.
Is it
Nunes?
Sorry, Nunes. He's done a lot better than he has done.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd say he's been better than Kovacic, right? You know, he's definitely better than Mason Mount. But that's it. It's the price. There you go. Yeah. So that's what it is. That price. Well, when you pay that price now,
it's a lot, man.
It's premium.
How's he commanded that much money? He's got a super agent, man. I need his agent.
Yes, I want his agent as well.
150 million for that.
Whoever's been active for him, Mason Mount, all these guys, right? I mean,
we're getting on his agent, aren't we, mate? We're going to get his agent. Just a couple more questions then. Where do you think Arsenal will finish at the end of the season? In the league and then the Champions League as well? Because obviously you can't win the League Cup, the FA Cup. Let's talk about the Champions League. You've got Porto.
Yeah.
How far, in your heart of hearts, will you go in the Champions League?
I said at the start of the season that I think Arsenal could get to the quarterfinals, right? And I guess I'm still going to stick to that. It's really hard to predict the Champions League because all you get. We could get you lot in the next round, City. We could get Real Madrid, you know what I mean? Bayern Munich, you know what I mean? But I just feel that it will be the inexperience that will do us in. We haven't been in it for 7 years. That bit of inexperience, I feel, will probably mean that we won't get as far as we...
See, I thought you were going to say semis or even final.
I'm saying quarters and hopefully anything beyond that. I am being conservative in it because we've just not been in it for a long time. So I don't think we can start getting ahead of ourselves and start talking about semis and things like that. Yeah. Because we just not been in that competition.
Talent. When you're firing, you came second last season in the best league in the world.
Got the talent. We have got the talent. We have got the players. We've got, but as I said, I just think that inexperience, we just got to take a step back this season and just say, right, let's see how far we can get. Obviously, we're in it to win it. We want to try and win it. It's one of these competitions sometimes that unexpected teams can go for. Last year, no one expected Inter to get to the final.
Napoli and AC Milan, and you're better than those sides. I really believe that.
Yeah, but that inexperience, we got that experience and that know-how. You've seen with even Man City how long it took them to win it.
It took so long, man.
Not because they weren't, on many occasions they were the best team. But it's just that little know-how to get over the line. That's what Real Madrid and those teams, Atleticos and all that, because they're in it every year. They kind of have that. We don't, and that's the thing that worries me. I'm not thinking we're going to get played off the park by teams. I'm just thinking, are we going to, over 2 legs,
show up?
So that's why I'll go quarters at this stage.
That's fair enough. And then in the Premier League, so let's say you beat Liverpool, will you go on to win the Premier League? I think it's a huge game.
Listen, it's absolutely humongous. It then gives us a chance to stay in it. I think Man City are the favourites now. We did a thing the other day where we looked at everybody's next 5 games. I looked at your 5 games and nearly fell over. I'm like, oh my God, is this real? What is Brentford twice or something like that?
You had Burnley last night.
Burnley, and I was like, oh, bloody hell, man. Where they got all the big guns back, what's going on here? So I think City are the favourites. Got to say, listen, I was saying before Christmas that I'd probably say Arsenal second.
Yeah.
But the way Liverpool have been playing,
scary.
You'd have to still put them. I think City would win it. I think Liverpool will be second and probably us third.
But you could do a huge favour to City, couldn't you? If you draw the game.
Well, we ain't doing no favour. We're not looking to do favours for City, right? Well, you know what I mean?
If you draw the game, it might look decent for you, but it really ruins everyone's chances except City for winning the league. Do you know what I mean?
So, but if we win on Saturday, if we win on Sunday, then I start reassessing my outlook again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because my outlook was good until that West Ham game.
And the Fulham game.
And the Fulham game.
And the Liverpool game.
Well, that was the FA Cup. So, that, you know what I mean? But if we beat Liverpool, then my outlook changes a bit. My outlook starts to change a bit. I'm like, We got West Ham the following week away. That's another tough game. It's almost a bit like last season where we had Liverpool, West Ham.
Yeah.
If we beat Liverpool, then went on and beat West Ham, then all of a sudden you come and see me after that.
And the Portos of the world. It's not
you
a
come
hard draw.
You come and see me after that, and then I'm starting to talk different. You know what I mean? And that's how this Premier League is, isn't it? It's like
it's a crazy division, man.
It is, and this year is so exciting. There's so much competition for those top. It's good to see. It's good to see that it's not just say you guys running away with it.
It's exciting, isn't it? It's so exciting, this league.
Yeah, it's
100%.
very exciking this season.
Yeah.
Very.
Thank you so much for joining me, mate. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
Where can people check you out? It's pretty obvious, I guess.
AFTV or DR Sports.
Thank you very much. Cheers.